She opened my door, dropped her robe, and said, "I'm not leaving tonight." Lieutenant Commander Ethan Cross had spent the better part of his day in the command center of Earth's orbital space station, working through the endless stream of reports from the fleet. The glow of the terminal screen bathed his face in soft light as he rubbed his eyes, feeling the weight of exhaustion pull at his shoulders. It had been a long shift, just another day in the life of someone who protected Earth from the ever-watchful eyes of the galaxy. Despite humanity's status as a member of the galactic community, Earth remained relatively isolated, not out of choice but out of necessity. Earth was a strategic world, one that the galactic empires respected and feared. But while Earth played a significant role in galactic diplomacy, few outside the planet's orbit knew what truly lay within its borders. To most species in the galaxy, Earth was a mystery, one they hadn't quite unraveled. Ethan sighed and leaned back in his chair, glancing at the time. It was late, too late for any further work. He had planned to get some rest before another early briefing, but just as he was about to stand up, the soft hum of the door sliding open interrupted his thoughts. A woman stepped into the room. She was tall, with features that seemed almost alien. Her skin shimmered with a faint, iridescent glow that caught the light. Her silver eyes locked onto Ethan with an unsettling intensity, a sharp contrast to the soft, peaceful calm of the station. Her clothes, a form-fitting suit of sleek black fabric, barely made a sound as she moved. She was unlike any human Ethan had ever met, and immediately, every instinct in his body screamed that something was off. The only problem was, he had no idea what this stranger wanted or why she had come. "Can I help you?" Ethan asked, keeping his voice calm as he straightened up in his chair. He had been trained for emergencies, armed intrusions, hostile encounters, but this was different. This was a quiet tension in the air, an unnerving sense of danger that hadn't yet revealed itself. "My name is Captain Lyra," the woman said, her voice smooth and authoritative. "I come from the Zelari fleet." Ethan froze. The Zelari. He'd heard stories about them. An ancient, technologically advanced race with cold logic and a reputation for dominating their enemies without mercy. Their empire was vast, stretching across hundreds of star systems, but they were also known for their distaste for Earth and its people. Lyra took a step forward, and the door slid shut behind her with a quiet whoosh. "I've been sent here on an important mission, Commander Cross," she continued. "It concerns you, and more importantly, it concerns your planet." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "I don't know what you're talking about. Earth doesn't need any help from the Zelari. Your people have had little interest in our affairs." Lyra smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile that made you feel at ease. It was almost predatory. "Perhaps that's about to change," she said, her tone taking on a more serious edge. "I'm not here to ask for permission. I'm here to make you an offer." Ethan's mind raced. "An offer? You've come all the way here just to make me an offer?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, but first let me be clear. I'm not here to negotiate with Earth's government, nor am I here for any formal diplomacy. My mission is personal and I need your cooperation. This has nothing to do with politics, this is about survival." Ethan leaned forward in his chair, now fully alert. "Survival? What do you mean?" She stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "You see, Commander, Earth is sitting on a secret so powerful that if it falls into the wrong hands, it could change the fate of the galaxy forever. A secret that the Zelari, among others, would do anything to control." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "What secret? What are you talking about?" Lyra didn't answer immediately. Instead, she turned and walked to the window, looking out at the dark expanse of space beyond the station. Ethan could see the stars scattered across the void, cold and distant, as though indifferent to the lives of those beneath them. After a long pause, she spoke again, her voice quieter this time. "You humans have always been underestimating yourselves. You've only begun to scratch the surface of the potential within your species, But your ancestors, they found something powerful, and your people have kept it hidden for centuries. Ethan's mind raced as he tried to process her words. The only thing he knew for certain was that the Zelari were known for their insatiable thirst for power. But why would they want something from Earth? And what secret could humanity possibly have that would be of such interest to an empire that controlled entire star systems? "Why tell me this?" Ethan asked, his voice steady but cautious. "If it's a secret, why not keep it hidden? Why come here at all?" Lyra turned to face him again, her silver eyes intense. "Because," she said softly, "I've seen the potential in you, in your kind. I've been watching Earth for some time, and I've come to understand something that your enemies haven't. Humanity is capable of things no one thought possible. You are more than just a simple, insignificant species. You have the power to turn the tide in ways no one expects. But it requires your willingness to see beyond the limits of your current knowledge." Ethan didn't know whether to trust her. He had heard stories of Zelari manipulation, of entire species being deceived by their smooth words and promises of power. But there was something about her presence, something in the way she spoke, the way she carried herself, that made him hesitate. She continued, stepping closer to him. "I'm not here to deceive you, Commander. I need your help. Earth's future depends on it." Ethan stood up, pacing slowly as he processed the information. It didn't make sense, yet it did. The Zelari had always been a race of calculation and order. They didn't act without reason. So why would she come to him, of all people? "What exactly do you want from me?" he asked, his voice tinged with skepticism. Lyra didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached for the clasp on her suit and with a fluid motion dropped her robe to the floor. Beneath it, she wore a sleek, armored bodysuit, the same as the one worn by high-ranking Zelari soldiers. "I need someone who can help me retrieve what Earth has hidden," she said. "Someone who knows your world and its history. Someone who can think beyond the conventional, someone like you." Ethan stood still, his heart pounding. There was no mistaking it now. This was serious. This was a game of life and death, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. Lyra didn't wait for a response. Instead, she took a step back, her eyes scanning the room. "You don't have to decide now, Commander, but time is running out. The Zelari are already aware that I'm here. If we don't act soon, it will be too late for both of us." Ethan's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. One thing was clear: Earth's future, and perhaps the future of the galaxy, hinged on what happened next. "I'll help you," he said, his voice calm but resolute. "But I need to know everything. No more secrets." Lyra nodded. "I'll tell you everything you need to know. But first, we have a long road ahead of us, and there's no turning back." As she turned and headed toward the door, Ethan knew that his life was about to change forever. The following day, Ethan found himself standing in front of a small transport ship, his thoughts still spinning from the night before. Lyra had remained in his quarters for hours, explaining the stakes in a calm, almost detached manner. But every word she spoke felt like a puzzle piece sliding into place, a piece that, once locked into position, shifted his entire understanding of Earth's place in the galaxy. The truth she'd revealed to him was staggering. Lyra wasn't just some rogue officer. She had come to Earth with knowledge far beyond anything Ethan had ever imagined, and that knowledge had shaken him to the core. Earth had a secret, one that until now had been hidden from the rest of the galaxy. As he boarded the ship, Lyra was already seated at the controls, her eyes scanning the console with calm precision. She barely looked up when he sat beside her. "So what exactly is this secret you're talking about?" Ethan asked, his voice a mix of curiosity and suspicion. "You said it's something my ancestors discovered, but you haven't told me what it is." Lyra glanced at him briefly. "In time, Commander. You'll see for yourself soon enough. What matters now is understanding how this will change the course of our galaxy's future." She paused for a moment, as if gathering her thoughts. "Many centuries ago, Earth's early civilization stumbled upon something something ancient and immensely powerful. This discovery, hidden deep within your planet, has been kept secret by the guardians of your world. But now, the galaxy is at a tipping point. Forces that seek to destroy all that stands in their way are closing in, and only this hidden power has the potential to stop them. Ethan frowned. You keep talking about this power, but how does it change things for Earth? How could humanity be involved in something so massive? Lyra leaned back slightly in her seat, her silver eyes locking onto his. Because, Commander, humanity is more than just a young species in the galaxy. You have something unique, something that no other species has. The key to unlocking this power, this legacy, lies within you. The human mind, your ability to think differently, creatively, is what will allow Earth to not only survive but thrive in the coming conflict. Ethan's brow furrowed in confusion. Wait a minute. You're saying that we humans have something that could change everything, but that's not possible. We've only just begun to explore the stars. That's exactly what I mean, Lyra replied, her voice steady. Your people have always underestimated themselves. You've been stuck in a mindset that focuses only on what's in front of you, your current capabilities, your immediate problems. But that's not how the galaxy works. Some species, like the Zelari, have existed for millennia, and their power is undeniable. But they've become stagnant, rigid. They are predictable. She paused, letting her words settle. Ethan could tell that she was trying to convey something much bigger than just Earth's current state. You, Commander, and humanity in general, have the capacity to adapt, to evolve, to think outside the box in ways no one expected. The galaxy is full of powerful beings, but your species has an untapped potential. That is why I've come to you. Ethan absorbed her words, the weight of them heavy on his chest. The Zelari had always been known as a race of efficiency and cold logic, a species that calculated every move with precision. But Lyra was saying something completely different. She was saying that humanity, imperfect, flawed yet resilient, had the ability to turn the tide against an entire galaxy of superior civilizations. He was about to speak when the ship's controls suddenly beeped, drawing his attention. Lyra adjusted a few settings, and the small craft smoothly entered Earth's atmosphere, descending toward a location he couldn't quite place. The lush green landscape below was dotted with ancient ruins, remnants of civilizations long forgotten. As the ship landed, Lyra stood, her eyes scanning the surroundings. We're here. This is where it all began. Ethan's pulse quickened. The place had a strange, otherworldly feel to it, the air thick with an ancient energy. As they exited the ship, they found themselves in the midst of a vast forest, the trees towering overhead. The ruins were scattered among the trees, as if nature itself had slowly swallowed the remnants of a lost world. Lyra led him through the overgrown pathways, her steps light and sure. This is one of the last remaining sites from Earth's ancient past, she explained. Here, your ancestors discovered the first piece of what I'm talking about. They didn't understand its significance, of course. To them, it was just a strange artifact, a relic of an age long gone. Ethan's mind raced as they walked deeper into the ruins. Every so often, Lyra would point to a stone structure or a carving on the wall, explaining its connection to the ancient technology hidden beneath the Earth's surface. Finally, they arrived at the heart of the ruins, an enormous circular stone structure. At its center, a raised platform was surrounded by intricate symbols, all etched into the stone. Lyra stepped forward and placed her hand on the platform's surface, her fingers brushing across the cool stone. This is where it all began, she said quietly. This is the key to unlocking humanity's true potential. Ethan stood there, staring at the symbols. He could feel a strange hum in the air, a low vibration that seemed to resonate deep within his chest. He didn't understand it, but he knew it was important. This was what Lyra had been talking about, the hidden power beneath Earth's surface. Are you telling me that "This thing is what's been hidden all this time?" Ethan asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Lyra nodded. "Yes, but there's more. The key to understanding it, to unlocking its full potential, lies within a human mind. A human who can think creatively, who can break past the traditional barriers that others, like the Zelari, can't." Ethan felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He wasn't sure if he was ready for whatever came next, but one thing was certain: humanity was about to change everything. "I don't know if I'm the right person for this," he admitted, looking at Lyra. "How am I supposed to understand something this ancient?" "You already do, Commander," Lyra replied, her tone confident. "You just don't know it yet." They stood in silence for a moment, both staring at the symbols. The air seemed to grow heavier, as if the very planet itself was waiting for something, waiting for the right person to unlock its secrets. Lyra stepped back and looked at him. "The Zelari are not the only ones who will come for this power. You must prepare yourself, Ethan. The war is coming and humanity must be ready. You may be our only hope." Ethan nodded, his resolve solidifying. He didn't know exactly what lay ahead, but he knew one thing for sure: this journey was about to get far more dangerous. And Earth, perhaps the entire galaxy, was counting on him. The morning after their visit to the ancient ruins, Ethan awoke with a sense of unease gnawing at him. The revelation about Earth's hidden power still echoed in his mind. Lyra's words lingered, and with each passing hour, the weight of the task ahead grew heavier. She had been so sure that humanity's future, and perhaps the future of the galaxy, was tied to what lay hidden beneath the surface of Earth. Yet the idea felt unreal, too enormous to grasp. He hadn't expected this when he joined the Earth space fleet. His life had been dedicated to defending his planet, ensuring peace and order. But now it seemed as though peace was slipping through their fingers, and an uncertain, dangerous war was on the horizon. Ethan met Lyra in the ship's small galley. She was already there, seated at the table, studying a star map projected above the surface. Her face, as always, remained unreadable, though there was a flicker of something, tension, in her silver eyes. "We have to move quickly," Lyra said, not looking up from the map. "The Zelari fleet is aware of our presence here. They're searching for us, and they won't stop until they find the power we're after." Ethan sat down across from her, feeling the gravity of the situation. "What exactly are we dealing with? You said that the Zelari are after this power, but why? What do they want with Earth's hidden technology?" Lyra's fingers hovered over the map, pausing for a moment before answering. "The Zelari believe that control over the power buried beneath Earth will give them dominance over the entire galaxy. It's not just a weapon. It's something far worse. If they succeed, they'll be able to rewrite the laws of space and time itself. The galaxy will fall under their complete control." Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He had known that the stakes were high, but this was beyond anything he had ever imagined. "But why haven't they found it yet? Why has it been hidden for so long?" Lyra leaned back in her seat, her silver eyes meeting his. "Because it can only be unlocked by someone special." Ethan felt a chill run through him. "You said that I was the key. What exactly does that mean?" "You have the potential to unlock the full power of Earth's legacy, but only if you can think beyond the limits of your current understanding," she said. "The technology hidden here is not like anything the Zelari have ever encountered. It requires human intuition, creativity, and a willingness to embrace the unknown." Her words still didn't quite make sense to him. How could he, a regular human officer, unlock the power that had been hidden for millennia? But there was no time to dwell on the mystery. The Zelari were coming, and they were closing in fast. Before Ethan could ask another question, the ship's alarm system blared to life. His heart skipped a beat as he rushed to the cockpit. Lyra was already there, her fingers flying over the controls as she scanned the surrounding space. "They're here," she said, her voice calm but tense. "The Zelari fleet has arrived. We need to leave now." Without hesitation, she powered up the ship, and Ethan felt the familiar hum of the engines as they shot into space. The ship was fast, but he knew that the Zelari's ships were faster. They had the advantage. "We have to buy some time," Lyra said, her eyes narrowing. "I'll take us to a nearby asteroid belt. It's our best chance to avoid detection." As the ship shot through the void, Lyra expertly navigated through the belt, the rocks flying past them in a dizzying blur. Ethan gripped the armrests of his seat, his mind racing. They couldn't outrun the Zelari fleet forever, but if they could make it to a more remote area, they might be able to hide long enough to plan their next move. The ship shook as a few small asteroids collided with the hull, but it held steady. Lyra's hands were steady on the controls, her eyes scanning the area for any sign of pursuit. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the radar. "They've found us," Lyra muttered. "They're closing in fast." Ethan's heart raced. He had trained for combat situations, but this was different. This wasn't just about fighting for survival. It was about something much larger. If the Zelari found them, they wouldn't just capture them. They would take everything. The fate of the galaxy, of humanity, would hang in the balance. "We have to fight back," Ethan said, his voice tight. "We can't let them take us." Lyra's lips curled into a small, knowing smile. "I was hoping you'd say that." She pushed a series of buttons on the console, and a hidden compartment beneath the floor slid open, revealing weapons and equipment, advanced energy rifles, explosives, and other high-tech gear. "Grab a weapon," Lyra said, her voice low and focused. "We're going to make sure they don't get close." Ethan grabbed one of the energy rifles and checked the power levels. He had never used anything like this before, but in the current situation, there was no time to waste. As the Zelari fleet closed in, Lyra set the ship on a collision course with an asteroid, forcing the enemy ships to make a choice: risk their ships in a dangerous chase or wait for them to emerge from hiding. The ship shook again, this time with more force, as the Zelari fired their first shots. The shields flickered but held. Lyra's hands flew over the controls, and she expertly dodged the incoming fire. But she knew this was just the beginning. "They're not going to give up," she said, her voice hard. "We need to outsmart them." Ethan nodded. "What do we do now?" "We lead them into the heart of the asteroid field," Lyra replied, a glint of determination in her eyes. "There we'll fight. If we can take out one of their ships, it will send a message." As the Zelari ships closed in, the first few rounds of fire narrowly missed the ship. The tension in the air was thick as they neared the asteroid field center, where the rocky terrain was dense enough to provide cover. "This is it," Lyra muttered, preparing herself for the fight ahead. "Stay close and don't fire unless I say so." The first Zelari ship entered the field, its sharp, triangular shape cutting through the blackness like a predator hunting its prey. Ethan's grip tightened on the rifle as he took his position beside Lyra. "We wait for the right moment," Lyra whispered. Ethan nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't know what they were up against, but he knew they had one advantage: humanity's ability to think differently. While the Zelari were calculating and efficient, they were predictable. As the first enemy ship approached, Lyra suddenly swerved the ship, sending them into a steep dive. The Zelari followed, but their predictability became their downfall. Lyra swung the ship around an asteroid, causing the enemy to crash into one of the larger rocks. Sparks flew as the Zelari ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. "We've got one down," Lyra said, her voice barely concealing her satisfaction. "But there's more to come." Ethan's pulse raced, but he knew this was only the beginning. They had to keep moving, keep outsmarting the Zelari, or they would all be lost. "We need to get to Earth's surface," Lyra said. "It's the only place we'll be safe for now. The Zelari won't risk going after us on the planet. We'll have a brief window to regroup and plan our next move." Ethan nodded. Their path was clear, but the danger was far from over. The Zelari were relentless, and if they were going to survive, they would have to rely on their wits, and the hidden power beneath Earth's surface. As the ship raced toward Earth, Ethan felt a strange sense of resolve settle in his chest. The war had begun, and humanity was going to fight. Not just for survival, but for a future that no one had dared to imagine. Ethan's heart pounded as the ship broke through Earth's atmosphere, the familiar blue planet below growing larger with every passing second. Lyra's hands moved quickly over the controls, her face set in a determined expression. The Zelari fleet, though momentarily distracted by their pursuit of the ship in the asteroid field, would not stop. They would find them. "Earth is our only option now," Lyra said, her voice firm. "The Zelari will hesitate to attack us directly while we're on the planet. It gives us the chance we need to regroup and plan our next move." Ethan nodded, though he knew they had little time. The Zelari might hesitate at first, but once they realized they were being lured into a trap, they would come after them with everything they had. He looked out the window at the landmass below, sprawling in green Earth's surface, both their refuge and their battlefield. "Once we land," Lyra continued, "we need to find the next step in unlocking the full potential of the power we're after. The key to this power is hidden in ancient Earth technology, and only you can access it." Ethan's thoughts swirled, but he pushed them aside. There was no time for uncertainty. They had to fight, and they had to do it now. The ship's descent was smooth, but the tension between them was palpable. Ethan could feel the weight of the mission pressing down on him. He wasn't just trying to save himself or Lyra. He was fighting for Earth, for humanity's future in a galaxy filled with far more powerful civilizations. As the ship touched down on the outskirts of an old, forgotten city, the ground shook beneath them. The Zelari were not far behind. Ethan grabbed his gear, his mind racing. They had to move quickly. "Where are we going?" he asked, his voice tight with urgency. Lyra stood up from her seat, scanning the surroundings. "There's a hidden underground facility not far from here. It's ancient, long abandoned, but it holds the next piece of the puzzle. If we can unlock the technology there, we'll have the advantage we need to fight back." Without another word, they exited the ship, moving quickly through the dense forest surrounding the city. The towering ruins of what had once been a thriving metropolis loomed ahead, now covered in vines and wild growth. The air was thick with the smell of earth and decay, but Ethan barely noticed it. His mind was focused on the mission. They made their way to an entrance hidden beneath a mass of tangled vines, where Lyra used a small device to clear the obstruction. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a long hallway leading underground. Ethan followed Lyra without hesitation, his hand gripping the energy rifle at his side. The deeper they went, the more surreal it felt. They passed old control rooms, forgotten machinery, and walls covered in symbols. Some of them looked like the same markings they had seen at the ruins. There was no doubt in Ethan's mind now. This place held the key to humanity's survival. "Stay close," Lyra whispered, her voice low. "We don't know what kind of defenses are still active here. The Zelari might have set traps to protect this place." Ethan nodded, his senses on high alert. Every footstep echoed in the cold, metallic halls, and the silence was almost suffocating. It wasn't long before they reached a massive door, larger than any they had seen so far. Lyra stepped forward, scanning the control panel beside it. "This is it," she said. "We've found the final piece." She began typing a series of commands into the panel, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. Ethan watched, his breath shallow. They didn't have much time before the Zelari caught up with them. Every second felt like an eternity. The door slowly slid open with a deep rumble, revealing a large chamber beyond. The room was filled with ancient technology, strange devices that hummed with energy, casting an eerie blue glow across the walls. At the center of the room was a pedestal, and atop it, a crystal-like object that pulsed with an almost sentient rhythm. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes wide with awe. "This is it. This is the power I've been searching for." Ethan's heart raced as he approached the pedestal, drawn to the crystal. It felt alive, as if it was calling to him. He reached out, his fingers brushing the smooth surface. The moment his hand made contact, a jolt of energy shot through his body, filling him with an overwhelming sensation of connection to the planet itself. This is Earth's legacy," Ethan whispered, his voice trembling. Lyra watched him closely, her expression both amazed and relieved. "Yes, this is what the Zelari want, but it's also what humanity needs. This crystal is more than just a power source. It's a key to unlocking the potential of your species. But only you, Commander, can truly access its power." Ethan closed his eyes, focusing on the strange energy coursing through him. Images flashed before his eyes, visions of ancient Earth, of the long-forgotten civilizations that had once thrived here. He saw their downfall, their mistakes, and then the creation of this very device. It was a weapon, yes, but also something more. A tool to reshape the future of the galaxy if used correctly. But with that realization came the weight of responsibility. Ethan knew that this was no ordinary technology. If it fell into the wrong hands, it could destroy everything. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed through the hall. The ground shook beneath them and the lights flickered. Ethan's eyes snapped open as he heard the unmistakable sound of Zelari soldiers approaching. "They've found us," Lyra said, her voice cold. "It's too late to run. We fight now." Ethan grabbed his rifle and turned to face her. "Let's do this." The Zelari stormed into the room, their silver armor gleaming in the dim light. At the front of the group was General Threx, Lyra's former superior. His cold, calculating eyes locked onto her, and for a moment there was an almost imperceptible flicker of recognition between them. "You've betrayed us, Lyra," General Threx said, his voice low and menacing. "But I knew you couldn't be trusted. Hand over the crystal and we'll allow you to live." Lyra didn't flinch. "I'll never let you take it, Threx. Humanity deserves this power, not your empire." Ethan could feel the weight of the moment. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they had something the Zelari didn't. Humanity's resilience, its creativity, and the will to fight for survival. Without another word, Lyra fired her energy weapon, striking down one of the Zelari soldiers. Ethan followed suit, taking out two more with quick, precise shots. The room erupted into chaos, energy blasts flying in every direction. Ethan ducked behind a column, his heart racing but his mind clear. They couldn't lose this. They had to protect Earth's future. Threx advanced toward them, his soldiers forming a wall of steel and energy. But Lyra, with a strength and focus Ethan hadn't seen before, kept them at bay, moving with a fluid grace that was almost hypnotic. "You cannot win, Commander," Threx taunted, his voice carrying across the battlefield. "You're nothing but an insect trying to play with forces you don't understand." But Ethan wasn't afraid. He had come to understand something Lyra had taught him. Humans had a strength that no other species could match. They didn't rely on brute force alone. They relied on ingenuity, on outsmarting their opponents. And that was exactly what they were going to do. With a quick motion, Ethan threw a small explosive device that sent a shockwave through the room. The Zelari soldiers staggered, disoriented. In that split second, Lyra made her move. She disabled Threx's weapon, and with a final, decisive blow, took him down. The room fell silent. The Zelari soldiers, realizing they had lost, retreated, leaving only the sounds of Ethan's heavy breathing and Lyra's calm exhale. Ethan turned back to the pedestal. The crystal pulsed with energy, glowing brighter than ever. "This is just the beginning," he said, his voice filled with conviction. Lyra nodded. "Humanity's future is in your hands now, Commander, and together we will shape that future." As the dust settled, Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. And with the power of Earth's legacy now in their hands, they were ready to face whatever came next.